Hello everyone and welcome back to our blind let's play of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. This is episode 5, Rise from the Ashes, the final day trial ladder. I am the FlightlessBird, this is your story-based gaming channel, and we still have some work to do in this trial. For one, we need to make sure that Lana is not found guilty of murder. We need to make sure that Emma doesn't go to jail for manslaughter, although I don't think that's something that we need to prove, but it still would be nice if we knew that she wasn't in jail. And the final thing we had to do is make sure Damon Gant pays for his crimes, because without a doubt, he's behind everything. I am very sure he is the one who killed Marshall. I'm sorry, not Marshall, but Goodman. I'm very sure that he is blackmailing Lana into taking the fall for him. So let us go ahead and see about what we can do about this guy, shall we? I hope everyone's having a fantastic November day. It is February 25th, 12:06 in game, District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. I hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Hey, Gumshoe, it's good to always see you, my friend. All the dots. Oh, the dots. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. Aw, poor Gumshoe. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal. Making a detective run around all around while on duty? And to top it off, you call me here? Man, I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Huh. Edgeworth was just talking about this the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. Well, the chief prosecutor also want me to give you a message. A message? Well, yeah, she said if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book. Him. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Evidence law securely slipped into pocket. From the sky explains the 2 rules of evidence law. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. Well, that's where you're wrong, detective. Let me take a look at it right now. Rules for submitting evidence. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. And any unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Okay. So basically we got to subvert some evidence from Gant by using the evidence law book, I guess. Well, that's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why, I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence that you're unaware of. And Emma Sky found out she unwittingly caused the man's death. And now you're telling me you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. All the dots. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? and we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Heck yeah, let's do it! February 25th, 1252, District Court, Courtroom number 9. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. Well, the inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Well, yes, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. All the exclamated dots? You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? Well, I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and, all the impatient dots. Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A, solution, you say? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. Oh, really? That's new. What? But there's, no precedent for what you're, proposing here. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? All the dots. Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Well then, it's settled. The defense may now call the next witness. Mr. Wright. All the exclamated dots? You do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls. The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. And that is Damon Gant. Let's do it. I would see what happens if you do something else, but I see my light bar blinking in the top right. So let us call out Mr. Gant. Slam that desk. That's right. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? All the dots. Well, you know, as the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. And, I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? Well, true. All right, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Here we go. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this? Some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. Awkward silence. So, you want to play a hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. All the dots. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this Sl9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered the prosecutor? Wow, what a douchebag. Man. Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like, maybe the role that you played in all of this. Oh, the dots. Son, either you're very brave, or you're very foolish. All the dots. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Oh, yeah, sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. Wait, what? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has a right to refuse to testify. Of course. Such an action, though, carries with it certain risk. Roll the dice. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just, remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. The Sl9 Incident. Well, as I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. A power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dirk was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. Oh, I don't want to see that again. When Emma sent Neil flying, seems Dirk bumped his head. So that's the one thing that I was really curious about. Like, what happened to Dark following Emma's actions? Because it doesn't seem like he just fell unconscious by himself. Well, I see. Everything seems pretty clear cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I better hit him hard and fast. Let's cross-examine. I almost said let's cross-examination. That would have made no sense. Well, as I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. Well, as I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Well, yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up, too. Well, that's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that. Was the defendant, Lana Skye, also present in that room? Well, I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark reigned for it. To make a long story short, we slipped up. The power outage didn't help either. Now I'm starting to think that power outage was purposeful. I don't know if I can prove that, but... So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? Well, that's right. But Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say. He got lucky. Actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that because you wouldn't know where he's going. But if you look at the elevator, can't you see it's going in one direction or the other? Not always, right? Some elevators you can, some you can't. What's this about a power outage? Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden. I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil when that knife went through his heart, though. Please stop bringing that up. That's not funny, exactly. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Could you tell us what you saw? Well, it was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying on a heap of floor all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor. Oh, that was me. Sorry. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor. Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls. Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what his sister had done. All the exclamated dots. Apparently, she had already, arranged the crime scene. Oh, sorry, wrong button. How can you know that? Well, because of the victim's body had already been moved. So that means you found the body near Lana's desk. Well, that's right. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor. Yes. All the dots. Well, anyway, how come we never found blood on the suit of armor when we luminoled it? Unless it was like cleaned really, really, really good? Is that a possibility? As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office? That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt, but moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. Huh? If you're going to stare at anything, you'd be better off staring at the court record. Worthy, always a smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Grant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow it got to link on to the incident. Alright. So what I'm thinking is we show him the fingerprints from Emma because it was in his safe, which means he's linked to it, right? If he really had nothing to do with the forgery, then how do you explain this? Exactly. Well, what's that? And what's that on it? A handprint? Chief Gant, your explanation, please. Oh, awkward dots. I don't know, you tell me, son. Wait, huh? My dear Rido, don't you know the second rule of evidence law? Yes, that's all evidence must be tied to the case, right? The first law is you need police department's approval. The second law is everything must be tied to a case. Unregistered evidence present must be relevant to the case on trial. Exactly. Uh-oh, not this again. Evidence law. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Tell me, how is that rag relevant to this trial? It appears the defense was not prepared. I guess it's too early to use this piece of evidence. Please accept my profound apologies, Chief. Would you mind giving the defense another chance? Well, okay, I'll do it just this once, but only because you asked, Urgy. Thank you. I assure you the defense is terribly sorry. Man, this guy is so slick. Like, he thinks he's untouchable. Yeah, sorry I didn't nail you this time. Wait, so that's not the forgery. It is right, just not right now. Is it because he hid half of the list? Because this list was found in Gaunt's desk? You claim you had nothing to do with forgery, but I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Okay, this looks to be more like what we should be doing. Take this list, for example. That's the list Emma Sky drew a picture on. This was discovered in your desk. All it does. Not only that, but a piece of this jar that was sitting in your office was found inside your safe. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in this illegal investigation. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Ho! Here's the defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery. Who, me? Oh, do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the only one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Uh-oh. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know? Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? Yes, please help me. However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Yes, that's right. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, Gumshoe, I love you right now. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. Oh boy. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Evidence of forgery. Witness testimony. Let's see, what was it now? Jar fragment in the list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, well then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. There was a lot of statements there. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand I am the chief of police, right? I mean, there will be consequences. Oh boy. Indeed, I believe I'll press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. Haha. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. All right, Urgy. In return, though. I know. That place, right? Huh? What are these guys? Telepathic? Cross-examination. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. I'd appreciate it if you stopped making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, Sl, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. Wait, what? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped. Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Righto's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal. Never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. What do you mean by that? Well, this is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery. I'm not through speaking yet, Righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, well then they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment, was it discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, could have been suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right. Huh? The chief is talking about a possibility. So long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, Rido. Think about it. What statement was that? This one here? Okay, we may have to go back to that. There's no reason I participate in a forgery. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Ah, because I'm innocent. All the exclamated dots. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. Yeah, I don't care for it either. And will you please stop throwing Emma under the bus? But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. All the dots. Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Oh, shoot. Gant isn't the only one who murdered prosecuted Marshall 2 years ago. Yeah, I know he played a part in the forgery. That can only mean someone asked him to be an accomplice. Damon Gant. Someone's accomplice? That sounds unlikely. I missed that last line. This one. Really, Chief Gant. At the very least, there is one large benefit that you've reaped from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh, I see. The resolution of Sl9 Incident secured a promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, the dots. Ha ha ho! Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think that I'm not incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of Sl9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Gah! Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might end up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. You know, I actually do believe that. Oh, the dots. There, it's out in the open now. I'm a self-centered bastard who committed all these murders. Oh, I'm sorry. Archie, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you? Ah, sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. Well, that's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Ho ho ho! Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Sure, point out the accomplice. True, you might not have helped out anyone for their sake. But if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Oh, the dots! Mr. Wright. It appears you are positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Definitely not. Very well then. Who is this person you may believe Chief Gant might have helped forge evidence? Well, it's Lana Skye, of course. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye? The defendant? Oh, the dots. I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Yeah, I do believe so. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the Sl9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. Oh, the dots. But how could he profit from all of this? He would be able to use his chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Come on, Judge, you know what we mean. Absolute silence. I love that. It's so good. Oh, that was nice. Oh, wait. You must mean a puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Right on, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof for this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. All the dots. Unless that is also what happened in the incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course, I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Dang right. Uh-huh. Where are they? You'd better watch your tongue. You know what I think happened is, I think this whole plan backfired on Gant because Angel Star wasn't supposed to interfere with Lana storing the body. But because Lana got caught, it threw everything into a tailspin. So it's really interesting because Angel Star may prove to be the ultimate hero in this case. Huh. Brother, you better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana to take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? We know the Chief entered the evidence room with his code. We know that he could have murdered Goodman. We know that he could have forced Lana to participate in the crime. Everything is adding up. Order, order, order! I said I will have order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible. It may be impossible, but it's true. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. Huh? There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. And he's with us too. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? All the dots. Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I believe so too. I see. Alright then. Now let's see what Mr. Wright's got. And it better be good. Probably should save here, because I don't really know exactly what's going to happen next. And yeah, I'm not sure what will be transpiring here. Shows the evidence that the Chief Gant is tied to the murder of Detective Goodman. Yep, that's what I was afraid of. All right, let's see. What evidence do we have that Gant is tied to the murder of Goodman? Could it be this? That doesn't tie him to the murder. That doesn't tie him to the murder. This isn't about Detective Goodman. That's not about Goodman. That's not about Goodman. That's about Marshall. It's this right here. I just said this a few minutes ago. The fact that his ID card was used at 5:20 p.m. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. All 7s. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. Huh? What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. By the way, the game just played a trick on me. Because normally when the music keeps playing, it means you got a wrong answer. But yet we did get a wrong answer and the music kept playing. Pretty sneaky game. The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits, you don't mean? I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was all 7s. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. That's right, I see you sweating. You better start sweating. Order, order, I will have order. Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Oh, the image dots. Nothing. The defense's search of my office was a violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. Oh, thanks. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Oh, the dots. Chief Gant, so you admit it. You were into the evidence room on the day of the crime? Oh, the dots. What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere that I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days? Chief Gant? I'm afraid you just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met with the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting. Yes, like if he killed him. Well, in that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. My God, how good is this music right now? Show us proof that the victim went to meet with Chief Gant on the day of the crime. What is the evidence? What is the evidence? What is... Ah! This right here can only be submitted to the chief of police. Yeah. That right there. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or, to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Oh yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to Chief Gant. And then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on. Well, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman. You dang right you did. All the dots. Exactly. But wait. The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. You could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Get him, Edgeworth. Sorry, but that's not possible. Huh? According to the record, your card was used only once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, why would it be used? It would have been found on his body. Ah, okay. Yeah, that would make perfect sense. Nah. No! That's a great animation there, by the way. Oh, it's so good. Chief Gant, you did it. Oh, the dots. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, but no one in the right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contact Alana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office's parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? Well, I was at the police department the entire day, you know? And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time, I thought was a useless clue just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us his evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. He used the screwdriver. Exactly. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... Ugh! I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. And the body was already in your trunk, and then Lana opened your trunk and took the body out, and that's when Angel saw everything. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Miss Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Yep. This is so good because we know what's going on. Such a great feeling.
Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car?
Yes. Unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case?
All the dots.
There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye.
Order, I will have order. And what's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal for the defense's outrageous accusations?
Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. She's taking the body out. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk.
Chief Gant, please say something.
I believe your time's up.
My time's up?
Sorry, Rido, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? Police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now.
What? This is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
So you're going to just run away after all of this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. Huh? I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with.
I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright.
Your Honor.
Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body.
Do I have any concrete proof? What the heck? I can't let him just squirm his way out of this. Yeah, I know, I have no other choice. Whether or not I think I have proof or not, I just gotta go with it and hope I can find something. I've got to keep the pressure on. Yes, Your Honor. I do have such evidence. Well then, please hurry up and present. Oh. I did Chief Gant's voice for the judge. Well, I mean, Chief Gant is kind of speaking for the judge anyway, so.
Then please hurry up and present it. Just remember, you better prove Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Oh dear God. What evidence do I have that he murdered Detective Goodman behind a shadow of a doubt? The print had been wiped. Marshall's fingerprints. The jar. But the jar has to do with the previous case. The glove. No. No, that's not conclusive. I don't know if that's conclusive. The shoe. Oh. Huh. I was thinking, if this is the murder weapon, and it's usually in Edward's toolbox, how did it get to the crime scene? Well, that doesn't say that the Chief Gant did it. And the halberd was removed 2 years ago. Not at his behest, but because it was taken off to be used in a murder. Or in a defense. His ID card was found at the prosecutor's office crime scene. Wait a second. This was found at the prosecutor's office. And we know Goodman didn't have his ID with him. But yeah, Bruce Goodman did enter at 5:14. Well, not Bruce Goodman, Marshall. Marshall stole the ID card. What evidence do we have? I'm honestly not sure. I mean, this is a stub, but that just tells us Edgeworth's car was in there. That doesn't help. What is the link here? Security video? No, there's nothing in there that links Chief Gant. Especially since the time of the video was at 5:14. Way beyond the time that the murder actually took place. By the way, it says Emma is written on the surface of blood. That was updated. Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman beyond a shadow of doubt. Could be the phone? Because Lana was trying to say that the chief did it? Oh man. I have no idea. Like, I have no idea how this works. I'm gonna go with the phone first.
So, exactly what is this evidence?
It's proof. As to whether or not it's enough to demonstrate the chief's guilt, I'll let you be the judge.
But, I am the judge.
Oh, right. Well, what do you think, Your Honor? I think it's not good enough.
As I'm going to be late for lunch.
Yeah, that's not good enough. What is the, What if I say I have no proof? So you're showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. Huh. See, G?
In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief.
What? Here's a tip. Never gamble with who you can't afford to lose, righto? Seems that Lady Luck was on my side again. Okay, Archie, I'll leave the rest to you. I think I just lost the case by saying that.
I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency.
All the dots. What? Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her.
Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean?
There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth? Another witness? In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Does he mean Lana?
Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person?
Huh. Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today.
Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist?
She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth Miss Lana Sky.
The defendant, Miss Lana Sky?
Oh boy. I don't know how close we are to the end, but at this point, since we're calling a new witness, this is a good time to stop because we've been going 50 plus minutes, and I don't think we're any closer to. I think we're closer to the end, but I still think we need another episode at least to get through it. So anyway, my name is FlightlessBird. This is your story-based gaming channel. Thank you for everything, my friends. I really do appreciate you guys. I love you all so very much, and hopefully we'll be able to lock down this case the next trial. I mean, the next day. And until then, so long, and take care. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to comment on what you saw and what you would like to see next. I always love to hear your thoughts. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more. Also, please do not forget, you matter, you are brilliant, and you are loved. And you should always remember to be true to yourself. Don't let the world tell you any different. Much love to you from your friendly feathered flightless bird. Till next time.